Hi guys, welcome to another bowling video. So today I'll be sort of like reviewing one of my recordings from when I was actually bowling with my friend Coach Neo and another of my friend Benjamin Tan. We were actually bowling on, as you can see in the background here. So it's Rifle Range Road, Temasek Club Rifle Range Road, and we were bowling on the Singapore Open 2022, which is like this upcoming Singapore Open oiling. So if you're interested to know how the pattern plays, like if you have registered for the tournament, but you don't have time to schedule yourself down for like a practice session before it starts and so on, and you want like to know a little bit of how we think, how we play the pattern, or how we think how people should play the pattern, yeah, you can. Yeah, I hope this video actually helps someone out there. So I did have recording for this, so I'll just play the recording. And what I'll do is I will pause the video in between to go through like what I was doing in the background, what surface I was putting on the ball, and explaining some of our moves as well. So obviously, Coach Neo is a better bowler here. By far, he's way better bowler than I am. One-hander. He can bowl two-hander as well. And he actually makes a washout. Not say a washout, but his ball goes a bit like
maximum punishment.
So you can see the line that I was playing. So just a little bit of context before I continue playing this video. I came a little bit late to this practice session. The centers actually open at 12, where Benjamin and Coach Neo actually arrived earlier. So Benjamin actually already had 4 games on the lane, while Coach Neo actually had Benjamin had about like two games on the pair, 2 to 3 games on 2 games on the pair, and Coach Neo had about 1 game on the pair. So when you're playing on a sports pattern, right, it's really important to pay attention to the breakdown, like what balls was being used, what surface they were using, what lines they were playing beforehand. So just some context, Benjamin was playing, he's usually more of a diagonal bowler, but he has much lower ref rate, so his lines will be something like around here to here. So his breakdown is not much of a concern for me, because because the lines that I will likely bowl is either straight down or like inside out like this, right? So we will only cross his lines by a little bit. So it's more important to note what is Coach Neo's breakdown, his ball laydown point and so on, because he's using a much higher surface ball. Because Benjamin is using like a polished ball. He's like a very casual bowler, doesn't really understand about manipulating surface and so on. So I'm not really too concerned about Benjamin's ball breakdown or oil transition. I'm more concerned about Coach Neo's oil transition. So Coach Neo was previously bowling around, I believe he bowled this area, and then he bowled like this area as well, and he's now sending his ball around this area, right? So he's obviously using a sanded ball. So let's see, yeah. So he's playing around this area.
Maximum punishment.
Around this area.
Miss a bit, right? Oh.
I never miss, right, but I altered the release.
Oh,
yeah,
so you turn the ball a bit more.
Yeah, so based on the commentary that I recorded, Coach Neo actually turned his hand a little bit more, and that reacted. So his ball reacted differently from what he wanted to.
26.
So if you are actually starting like if you have a similar ref rate and ball speed to Coach Neo,
lane 26 pins are jammed, not coming down. 26.
yeah.
Thank you.
So I'll just mute myself for this video. I'll just mute the in-game video while I provide commentary on it. So if you have a similar ref rate and like ball speed to Coach Neo, you can actually like follow his lines, right? If you're a one-handed bowler, even if you're a two-handed bowler with a similar ref rate and similar ball speed. So Coach Neo has about 400 ref rate, high 300s to 400 ref rate for a one-handed bowler is decently high, and he has pretty decent ref rate, not like pro level high, because like the pros are like 450 to 500, right? So decent ref rate, and his ball speed is generally around 25 to 27 kilometer per hour. So if you have similar ball speed and refer it to him, you can actually copy his lines. And his ball surface is generally around 1000 to probably 500 to 1000. So you can see my ball speed is pretty slow. So I was actually playing this outside line, right? Maybe a little bit here, right? So I was crossing the arrows at about 12, 13, and I hit the break point about 10 to 8, and the ball overhooked. So to provide some context of what ball I was using a my Vortex V2 is an old ball, but I had surface of about 1000. 500, I started with 500 and I finished it up with 1000. So 500 is the base, and then I topped it up with 1000. So it's about 1000 grit surface on the ball with Abron pad. So obviously, if you're using like true cut pads, compared with Abron pads or Sin Air pads, the resulting surface will be different. So for reference, I'm using Abron pads. So obviously, if you use sandpaper, your grit will be a lot closer to the sandpaper grit. Okay, so here I played that line again, and yeah, I went high again. So you can see that my ball speed is on the slower end. My ball speed is typically about 20 to 21. So what I was bowling here was around this line. Okay, which is about, maybe this is not the best way to draw it, like about this line. Yep, so I hit about 13 at the arrows, and break point was about 10 to 8. I'm not super sure. And my ball overhooked. It went high, right, into the hip pin. So it tells me that I needed to shift left, right? So the ideal line for me would you will see that I shift to it later. I shifted to 25. Like I was standing at, my left feet was standing at 25, but my target at the arrows was 15, and my break point should be about 10. So I'm actually should be, later you see that I shift that point and I managed to get lined up. So a few shots by Benjamin here, which not too useful as a reference, but
Yeah, just repeat whichever shot was working.
you would see that even for like a straight bowler, a typically straighter bowler like Benjamin, he can still score strikes, right? He's using diagonal line. He's also not really matched up. He's using a shine ball, but he'll still be able to strike. Okay, so Coach May made a ball change here. Yeah, I think he balled down to
pin 7 reverse bingo.
a much
Spare for
weaker.
$2.
Yeah, so
2美元. This time no $2.
So we're talking about one of the our side challenges in the past. So it goes for plastic ball spare there. Yeah. So actually in that previous shot, Kushner actually balled down to a much weaker ball, I believe, and he played straighter. I'm not too sure what ball is it. Was it a fast pitch or something like that? It might be a urethane ball. He went straighter. He went the line that I previously bowled. So you can actually play straighter lines like probably 12-10, 12-8, but you gotta probably use a symmetrical ball with surface on it. And here I totally missed right. You can see it. I tried to play the same line, but I missed my execution and I went straight into the gutter. So there was there's so on sports oiling like this, right? Singapore Open or any other sports patterns, you don't have much miss room. Okay, so you can see in the earlier shot. Let's take a look at Coach Neo's shot again. So he was playing around his ball. So he missed left, right? His ball landed at about 16. So he's trying to get this line. No, maybe not here. He's trying to go from here to here, right? Which is, this line will be about 15 to 10. So he missed a bit left. And his ball went high. He missed the break point as well. Okay. So even for him, with his ball speed in that shot was probably around 24. Yeah, 24. Like the 15-10 line is still pretty good. 15 at the arrows, 10 at the break point is still pretty good for this pattern. And take note that this is not the fresh, right? I mentioned before, He has already been broken down by Coach Neil and Benjamin beforehand. They already have at least combined in combination of about 3 games on the pair. Okay. So another note is that you notice that Coach Neil is using plastic balls for sparing. He actually seldom uses his plastic balls. He can actually reliably use his strike ball for spare. But the plastic ball just gives you like that peace of mind, right? Like you can use a plastic ball, you can miss your execution a little bit, but as long as you get a direction right, you're gonna hit the spare. Especially single pin spares. So here I move in, I believe. Let's see. Oh, I still haven't moved in. I moved in a little bit. So I moved in a little bit. About here. Somehow I think with my forward roll I managed to get the ball into the pocket. But it would not be a pretty good line. So Benjamin misses spare there. You can see that Benjamin is still a pretty casual bowler. He hasn't gone through any formal training, so a lot of his fundamentals are not there yet. So mainly his ref rate especially is not there. So I'm not too concerned about the transition that he generates because he's playing like his laydown point, his arrows are usually to the right of us.
It's a It's a fake urethane. It's a reactive. It's a reactive that's called a urethane. It's actually a reactive ball.
Yeah, we're talking about the
Say
UC3. Yeah, so we're talking about the UC3 that Coach Neil was using. Because the Rubicon UC3 is like such a strong urethane ball, right? It's like I was saying that it's a fake urethane. It's like a reactive ball in disguise as urethane. So it goes pretty straight, right? He goes cross pocket again here, but yeah, he's hitting the arrow at 15, like here, but he misses his breakpoint left, right? So he hits about maybe 12 at the breakpoint, and the ball overhooks. But actually, like using urethane here is not a bad idea. Like previously, I thought urethane cannot be used, but if you're using a strong urethane like UC3 with good surface on it, like 500 to 1000, yeah, with Abraham pad, 500 on Abraham pad, I think you can do decently well. You can get to the pocket, but whether you can carry the pins will be a different story because he actually fumbles his next shot because he is having problems with his knee. Yep, he has arthritis, sort of like a little bit of arthritis in his knee. He has a weak knee. So when the weather gets a little bit more humid and cold, like when it's before it's going to rain, the humidity goes too high, he will feel it on his knees. And you can see that without no good base, right, without good stability on your knees, you can't really execute a good shot. You can't have balance at the foul line. And he misses that shot, puts it into the gutter.
Yeah lah, just wear lah. You know, knee will wobble. Right? send 你去，我有 Abraham pad.
Yep. So we can take a look at Coach Neil's line here. So he's still using the UC3, the strong urethane ball. He actually shifts to the right. He actually hits the arrows at about 14, 13, and he's hitting the breakpoint probably around 10. Yeah, maybe 11. So he misses the breakpoint a little bit left, and UC3 still overhooks so much that it doesn't even touch the head pin, right? So it's still a strong ball like UC3 really reacts really, really strongly. And his ball speed wasn't that bad too. He slowed down a little bit, but it's still about 24-25 km per hour, and the ball still overhooked. So yeah, it's definitely possible to use urethane, but what should I say? It's not my first choice. so to say. I would probably be using like I would probably advise people to use like asim reactive balls. Right now, I am using a symmetrical reactive ball. So did I shift in? Okay. So I'm still playing. Let me see what target I hit here. Okay, I'm sending it way out. So I was actually playing like something like this. From here, I hit about probably 12, 13 at the arrows, and I hit about 7 at the breakpoint. So it does go into the pocket, but it's a little bit light. I didn't generate enough entry angle because I'm focusing on getting more forward roll on my ball. I think earlier there was another video that I did before that I mentioned that if you are considering bowling on sports patterns, try to reduce the amount of axis rotation on your ball. Get your ball to go into more forward rotation compared with side rotation. Because if you have too much side rotation on sport patterns, the back end is like really clean, and you're gonna suffer pretty much because your balls are gonna be too snappy, right? It's gonna overhook on a variety of shots, and it's gonna have what you call over under. If you miss left, you overhook a lot, and if you miss right, your ball is not gonna recover, so it's not gonna even hook back to the pocket. So you want to get a little bit more forward rotation on your balls. So you can see maybe two youth bowlers on our left, doing much better on the pattern. Right, we can take a look at what the youth bowler was bowling. Okay, yeah, they're going really deep, right? The youth bowler is going like 22 to like maybe 10 at the break point. Yeah, it's going really, really deep. Managed to get it in the pocket, but not something that we recommend on the fresh, because if you are starting too deep, right? Continue playing the video, because if you're playing what the lines is playing on the fresh, like if you're starting too deep, what happens is that you do not have any miss room on the right to transition to. Because if you want to have miss room on the right, you need to play deeper. And if you're playing deeper, you have to shift further and further left. And as you shift further left, you're sort of like you have to change your entry angle in order to keep getting flush strikes, because you have to adjust your entry angle the deeper you go to the left. So I will still adjust you, like for like one-hander or two-hander, you should play the lines that Coach Neo is playing. That means more on between second and third arrow, and maximum you should go to about between third and fourth arrow at the targets for a one-hander, two-hander, especially if you're like starting the block fresh, right? It's fresh, right? If the lanes has been previously been broken down by some other bowlers, yes, you should play off their lines. So like, let's say if the previous bowlers were bowling this area and they have worn out this area of the lane, then yes, then as you bowl and you start your games, then you should move to the left of them and play off their track. So you need to play like between third and fourth arrow, and so on. So it really depends on how the lane has been broken down before you have bowled on that pair of lanes. You see that I'm struggling here?
So
So I'm going to repeat that. Okay, let me go back to that video again. Let's analyze my shot. So you can see I bowled the same line again, right? I'm crossing at about probably 12 to 13 at the arrows, and I'm sending it out to about ball 8 at the break point. And my ball is now overhooking, right? It's crossing into the cross pocket. I'm pretty lucky to get a strike there, but it's a strong signal to me that it's time for me to shift. So this is where I mentioned that if you have a slower ball speed and slower ball speed and higher ref rate, my ref rate is not really high. My ref rate is about 400 flat, maybe 390, 380 to about 400. So it's not high for a two-hander at all. But I have a slow ball speed, so I have about 20 to 21 kilometer per hour ball speed. And because of that slow ball speed, you see that I've only taken like a few shots on each of the lanes, and I've already needed to shift, right? My ball is already overhooking, and I have to shift really, really early. But you can see that Coach Neo, with his higher ball speed, he can actually stay bowling in a similar area, right? He doesn't need to shift as much. So the ball speed is really, really important, especially with higher ref rate. So Coach Neo is still maintaining about lines close to the third arrow now. His breakpoint is still about board 10-ish, board 10, board 11, but his crossing at the arrows still probably about 14, 15 at the arrows. And with that higher ball speed, you get to stay in like your line for a longer period of time, so you don't have to like shift as much, which will reduce a lot of headache because you don't need to make adjustments as quickly. You can just focus on repeating your shots a lot more. So obviously referee is important, and if you're a two-hander that's watching this, obviously like getting your ball speed up is one of the top priorities for a two-hander, because we probably don't struggle that much with ref rate. Like even if you're a beginner two-hander, you can easily get like 200 to 300 ref rate without your thumb in the ball. Then as you get better and better, you're probably getting in the ranges of like 400 ref rate and to 500 ref rate. But with that high of a ref rate, if you don't have enough ball speed to match up with it, you're really gonna struggle, because you're being forced to, you have to like change your lines really, really quickly as you're bowling in a competitive setting. Like if you're even on the league shot, like this is a sports pattern, you can see that I have to shift pretty fast. It's only like half a game and I'm being forced to change my line. Even on the league pattern, you still have to like shift pretty quickly if you don't have that ball speed. Okay, let's see whether I've made an adjustment here. Yeah, I actually adjusted a little bit deeper and I go flush pocket. So yeah, so this is the line that I should have been playing from the start. I was actually standing at 25, trying to hit the target at 15. I missed it a little bit, and I hit the target at 14, and my breakpoint was about board 10 at the breakpoint. And my ball just settled into a nice roll and went flush into the pocket. So this is a good line to the standing 25, hitting the arrows at 15, 10. So I call it the 15-10 line, because it's 15 at the arrows, 10 at the breakpoint. It's a really good line for this pattern. But again, make sure that you have good forward rotation. So you can see that I hit my second strike here, another flush pocket. I'm shaking my head there because I actually missed a little bit to the right, I think, at the arrows. But it has just a little bit of room for error. But I don't think this line actually lasted pretty long for me. So Benjamin actually had a strike there. So you can see that even for like a pretty straight bowler like Benjamin, right, with pretty low ref rate, if you're playing like diagonal lines and getting to the pocket flush, yeah, you can still strike on this pattern, no problem. Just that your strike rate might not be as high as some of the better bowlers with like higher ref rate. Like yeah, so if like somebody like a bowler like Coach Neo with like 25 to 27 kilometer per hour ball speed and like 400 RPM, yeah, he's definitely gonna score higher than like a straighter bowler like Benjamin. Benjamin has really good ball speed. He's averaging like 25 to 27 kilometer per hour ball speed, but he doesn't have the ref rate to match, right? His ref rate is probably like in the low hundreds or maybe less than 100. So without significant ref rate, yeah, you can see that his ball just skids on the lane because it's also not matching up with the surface. He's using, I think, a shine ball, a pearl ball, and altered reality, if I'm not wrong. I'm not too sure. Whereby actually Coach Neo is using a pretty strong ball here. He's using the gem, and he has the surface decently down. I don't know what grid he's using, but it's at least 1,000. You can see that he's still getting to a pocket that goes a little bit high, and he's playing like a similar line to what I was playing on the previous two shots. So this is also about moving together with your lane partners. Like you definitely, the idea, I mean, if you know, yeah, I mean, if you're bowling in the MQ, you don't have control over what kind of lines your teammates or like the other bowlers on your pair are bowling. But generally, the target should be to break down the oil to the right first, right? So you always start like as straight as you can, maybe 10-10. If 10-10 overhooks, yeah, you're gonna shift to like 12-10. That means 12 at the arrows, 10 at the break point. And then if that starts to break down and overhook, then you're going to shift to like 15, 10, right? 15 at the arrows, then 10 at the break point. So always have a set plan to start breaking down the lanes from the right. I mean, some people might like to play like 5-5. I actually tried 5-5 before I started the recording here. And with my ball speed, my ball still overhooked, right? I couldn't get a decent line to the pocket. So that was something that I tried, but couldn't get it decently. So this one I missed left, but yeah, the ball barely touched the hip pin. So you can see that with my ball speed, I don't get a lot of room for error. I missed about two bots to the left. So I hit about 17 at the arrows, right? Then obviously I missed my break point as well. And the ball overhooked. So this is like the lack of miss room on sports pattern. If you miss your arrows by more than one board, you shouldn't expect to hit the pocket, even cross pocket. You shouldn't even expect to hit the hip pin. You can see that Coach Neo there misses to the right as well. So it's definitely not an easy pattern, right? Like I've said that there is a line there, so he's trying. So Coach Neo likes to experiment with different lines, with different balls as well. So in this case, he's hitting, I think, about 10 at the arrows. He's trying out like 5 at the break point. So he's probably hitting like this, 10-5 with his UC3, strong urethane, and it doesn't go back into the pocket. So take note that the outside is pretty fresh because none of us actually broken down the outside, because none of us are playing like breakpoint 5, are playing like lines like 5-5, 10-10, 7-7, stuff like that. So the outside is actually pretty fresh. So with the high volume of oil in the outside, it's just it's too much oil for his UC3 to actually come back. Okay, let's
Straight the
see.
spare. The spare ball, yeah. Some room for error there. Miss one or two balls right can, miss left cannot lah. Miss left overhook. But miss right, there's a bit of hole.
Okay, so with regards to my commentary there is that, so I'll reverse the shot. I actually missed like one ball right here, and my ball still finished flush into the pocket. So remember my target line was 15 at arrows, 10 at the break point, so it should be around here. And I believe I missed still 14 at the arrows, I think. And maybe I hit like 9 at the break point. So I parallel missed to the right. Oh, you can see I missed a fair bit to the right actually at the break point. So I hit like maybe even like 7 or 8 at the break point, and the ball still went flush into the pocket. So that's the importance of having your ball pick up. That's why it's very important to play in like where to go. Make sure that the area on the right is something that has been previously broken down. So what I'm trying to say is that because we have already played lines here, we've already previously broken down this part of the lane, right? We've broken down this area. So when I actually miss to the right, I'm actually going into an area which were previously been broken down. But I'm going to use blue here. So I was bowling into an area that's previously been broken down, and that actually caused my ball to beat a little bit earlier. That gives me that miss room to the right. But obviously there's no miss room to the left, as I previously commented in the video. I said it live when I was recording the video because the left is like pretty fresh because none of us actually bowled to the left. So since the left is like full of oil and it's fresh oil, if you miss the left, it's just gonna overhook, right? But if somebody has bowled on the left, that makes it even worse. Typically on the spot shot, there's very little miss room on the left. If you break down the lanes correctly, like you transition from the right to the left, then you're creating some miss room to the right. So at least you have a little bit of miss room. So this is why you gotta come up with a game plan always break down the lanes towards the right first if for a right-hander, and then slowly move shift towards the left, shift in. So just play the rightmost line that you can on the lanes to get a strike, and then slowly shift it. So I'm tried again, 15-10, and you can see that my ball goes high here, right? So did I miss left? I think I missed left. Let's take a look. Yeah, I think I missed a little bit left. A little bit left, but it's a sign that my line is actually not holding. So I've only bowled like 2 shots on that line, right? 2 shots on this line, 2 shots on this line, on similar line. Obviously, it's not perfect shots, but you can see that the lane is already transitioning for me. So that's the disadvantage of slower ball speed. I have to make adjustments a lot faster than somebody with higher ball speed like Coach Neo. Okay, I picked up that spare.
Yeah, but actually it has a little bit of side rotation. A little bit. It's not fully straight. It looks mostly straight. But sometimes you hook a bit. Yeah, pin 10. Bingo at frame 7 some more.
Yeah, I think Coach Neo actually hit the pocket there. There was a ball change. He's no longer using the gem here. I honestly don't know what ball he's using, but he is still like hitting 10 at the break point. He's probably hitting like 12 at the arrow stand at the break point. Looks to be a much weaker ball. So then that leaves him with pin 10. Oh, he's using a hustle, yeah. So I can see the ball as it came back. A hustle is an entry-level roto grip ball. So it's a much weaker ball, which is why he shifted to the right. So he's trying out different lines with different balls. I think all of his balls have good surface on there. His hustle actually looks a bit matte here on the ball return. So everything, none of it is been polished. Everything was sanded. So called everything is dull surface.
Okay, let's try one more 25, 15, 10 on the right lip. It's a good shot. Yeah, going high. Going high. That was a good shot. It's going high.
You can be the first to make this.
Yay! Split challenge. Split.
Yeah. So in my live commentary there, I played 25, 15, 10. So I repeated the same shot, and I said that I hit a good shot. So I hit my arrow and my break point, but it went through the nose and it gave me the quick church. So the lane has already transitioned for me after 2 to 3 shots on the lane. So if you're a bowler with like similar ball speed, right, like 21, maybe 22 km/h max, or maybe even less, and you have like this medium ref rate, like 300-ish ref rate, you should expect your line to change like after every 2 to 3 shots on the lane. So after every 2 to 3 shots, you should expect your line to change, and then you either have to shift or you have to change balls.
Good spare. Ayya! I thought it was a good spare. If you walk slower, leh? If you walk slower, is it better? Yeah, slow down. So that I can, maybe can have better balance. Good spare, good spare. So your sparring is getting better and better. Let's do a 3-1. So I see.
So I do it 3-1 here.
28 target will be 16.
So I
Same
shift
break point.
3 left with my feet and 1 at the arrows.
A little bit, not enough angle. Shifted 3-1, but not enough angle to strike. Left pin 4.
Yep. So as I commented there, I shifted in, but that ball doesn't generate enough entry angle. It's not angular enough. And I had to change to a different ball soon in order to play deeper.
Then
Oops.
do
Set spare.
ball change. Not frame 10 yet, man. Oh, I thought frame 10. Oh, now frame 8 only. Frame 9 only. I thought frame 10 了。那我看我们的 score 这样低 frame 10。啊，可以。到我 frame 9。我是62，还没有吃饭。我是还没吃饭，吃了一个 kick 而已。刚才我的 bed，我 mother 帮我买一个 new bed，then deliver 来。Then 很快他们 install very fast, faster than I thought. Okay, same 3-1. 728. I'm gonna hit 16 at the arrows. Ah, miss left. Cross pocket. Yeah. Okay, miss left, 1 board, cross pocket. Normal. Spoiling 是这样的。I miss 1 board, yeah, 1 board left. At the arrow which is normal 啦。如果是 league normal house oiling 的话，就是会 pocket， 它还是会 skid 一点，会 high pocket。So on spot oil， 你 miss 1 board， 它 overhook 是 normal 的。如果你 miss 2 board， 应该是没有头，或者 maybe 很 light 的 cross pocket 啦。
Yeah, so for those who only understand English, I was speaking with my friend Benjamin in Chinese there. I was saying that basically on sports oil, if you miss 1 board left at the arrows, it's normal to see the ball overhook. If you're on like a league pattern, if you miss 1 board left at the arrows, you'll probably still get hit pin or maybe high pocket. You might even get solid pocket, right? If there's enough room for error. But like on sports oil, yeah, you don't have that kind of room for error. You can see that Coach Neo's shot there, totally missing the hit pin by a big margin. And he isn't missing his arrow by a lot, right? So let's go back, right, and take a look at Coach Neo's shot here. He's probably still aiming for like 15-10. And he misses the arrow like probably just 2 boards. Okay, maybe 3 boards, right? So he hits here instead, right? So he's going like 15. So he hits like 2 boards. He misses 2 boards at the arrows. And his ball is now hitting like 13. And it's probably going like 7 or 8 at the breakpoint. And you can see that, yeah, it just goes skids, and it goes to like 3 at the breakpoint instead. So it just doesn't recover. So definitely this is not an easy pattern by any means, by a long shot. Right, not an easy pattern. For the bowlers, for the international bowlers and the professionals who are able to like average like 220 to 240 on this pattern, those are really, really good bowlers. They really execute their shots well. They come up with a good game plan. Their ref rate is good enough. Their ball speed is good enough, and they can repeat their shots well enough. They are matching up with the correct surface, matching up with the correct balls in order to get that high average. So it's definitely not an easy pattern.
It's 10:28. Oh, miss way right. That hit like 13 instead of 17. Instead of 16.
So I missed the same way like Coach Neo missed on the previous shot. So I hit like 13 instead of 15 at the arrows.
Okay, let's go for my earlier line, 25, 15, 10. And hopefully the ball will go cross pocket. Miss left. That was lucky. Miss left.
开场我们number one。
啊，几分钟？
来了。
Yeah, so I went for a ball change. I've changed to my radical react 2, which is a asim per reactive ball.
Ooh. So angular.
比較衝啊，就打啊，
照打咯，不用管它了。
Yeah, so I'm the second bowler C there that I just scored 184 on that game.
都没有人。他讲，我还以为很满呢，然后我看这么多空的 lane， 哪里有人？
每次这样的。
我说他讲满，然后我看空的吗？空的吗？我们是最早的嘛，你是最早的 Among the group， 其他的都迟来。
对啊。
哪里有满？ So group 其他的都迟来。
Okay, so maybe analyze a bit of Coach Neo's strike there. Let's see. I think he hits 15-10 exactly. So he went back to his, what's that? A roto grip? Hustle? Looks like a hustle. Yeah, so he went back to 15-10 on his hustle there, which has obviously pretty dull surface, and he got a strike.
So angular.
So in case of Coach Neo's adjustment, is like he's actually balling down. So he's playing back the similar line 15-10, which is a line he previously used to bowl with his stronger ball, which is the gem. But he's going to he's balling down to a less aggressive ball. Like he's going down to a hustle, which is a symmetrical core ball and with a much weaker surface, but still sanded surface. So here, I did manage to get a strike by playing 20. No, that was 18, 10 at the break point, but 18 at the arrows. But I was using a stronger asymmetrical polish ball, which later I will comment that that ball is giving me over/under reaction because the surface is actually too shine. Yeah, so Coach Neo actually missed. I think he maybe drifts a little bit. Yeah, it's actually going too straight. So he's supposed to hit like 15-10, but somehow maybe he drifted right, or he wanted to try that righter line, to try that straighter line. So he hit like 13 at the arrows, 10 at the break point, and it went through the nose. It overhooked with his hustle.
Yeah, you walk slower. Because you walk slower, ma. But okay lah, you look more stable when you walk slower. Your knee looks more stable. Can the shine ball continue to work? So. Drop the ball. Holding the ball like 1-2.
Yeah, so Coach Neo strikes again on that 15-10 line, 15 at the arrows, 10 at the break point. But like I explained earlier, he actually brought down to a weaker ball. So that's a valid strategy. Preparing your balls in advance, have a stronger ball to play, let's say 15-10, and then changing to a weaker ball to play on that same line as the lane starts to dry up and as the line dries up.
Doing well.
and when the lane transitions. But also a side note is that all of Coach Neo's ball all has surface on them. So I don't know what's the grid, but they are all definitely dialed up.
Drop ball a bit. Yeah. Go angular. It's set not enough.
Yeah, you can see that I paid maximum penalty here. I hit my target at the arrows, but I didn't get the execution that I want.
Wow. Came from way outside.
Yeah, I paid maximum penalty for my earlier shot. Like, I think I just missed the execution, and the ball went through the hip pin.
Did not like snap back. The ball just then roll back.
Yeah, because the urethane covers out. Right? Yeah. It still come back very strongly, but it doesn't. It's not too sharp. That's nice.
So we were talking about Coach Neo's earlier shot with using his UC3. He actually hit like board 5 at the break point.
Yeah, it went to like board 5. Ooh. Yeah, it's very over under, not enough surface. Because that ball it's shine, it's polished. It can work if I give it some surface. Let's try. 1,000, 2,000.
Yeah, so here as you see, I commented that
1,000, 2,000.
I'm feeling the ball is like going over under, which means like if I just miss my execution a little bit, I miss a bit to the left, it's gonna overhook. And if I send it too far to the right, I'm kind of scared that it's not gonna come back, and it might hook, it might not hook. So I'm not feeling like my ball is going on a very predictable ball motion with the polished surface. So right now in the background here, I'm actually sanding it down with Ebron pad. I'm using 1,000 Ebron pad at the start, and then I'm finishing up with 2,000 Ebron pad. So to give the ball a little bit of surface. My thinking behind it is that I didn't want to give it too much surface because I still wanted the ball to skid further down the lane so that it can come back and give me that sharp angle that I want, the sharper entry angle in the pocket. So I don't want to give it too much surface, because the problem with if you give the ball too much surface when I'm playing a deeper line is that, let's say I'm trying to play this line, right? If I have too much surface, my ball will hook early because of that surface, and then it will break
works.
too early, and then it will go
1,000, 2,000.
So I just want to limit the amount of surface I have on the ball so that I want the ball to still go further down the lane. Yep. So let's take a look at Coach Neo's shot here. Yeah, I can't really see his target at the arrows. I'm assuming it's about 12 to 13. But he hits like board 5, right? And he's using his stronger ball to jam here. And it still comes back. Still comes back into the pocket, giving it a solid strike. So you can play like pretty steep angles, but you probably have to use a stronger ball. Make sure that your ref rate is enough.
Wow, that's good. This left is steep. What? Chop. What? Like that also can chop. Uh-huh.
I push it up 55.
Ah, 15 backs. But give it side rotation lah. Okay. Let's try bot 5 at the break point. Cannot lay. I also 15-5 right? Different ball, different result.
Okay, let's see if whether did I really hit 15-5 there. I can't really tell because my back is actually blocking. Yeah, but my ball definitely did go to like bot 5 or maybe even bot 4 at the break point. It does recover, but light pocket.
Cannot lay. I also 15-5 right? Different ball, different result.
But it gives me
I
maximum
also
penalty.
15-5. I try one, you say 15-5, okay, I try.
Yeah, so it leaves me with a 7-10 split. So now you can see for Coach Neo's shot here, he actually moved deeper with his gem, the stronger ball. So he's hitting like, I think 17 at the arrows. Yeah. So he's hitting something like this. 17 at arrows, probably still going for bot 10 at the break point. Yep. Then the ball goes light pocket, but still carries, right? So that's another valid strategy as well. If you know, you can always move left with your stronger ball, or you can just stay right on the same line with a weaker ball. But for this particular oiling on the Singapore Open, because it's 33 milliliters of oil on the fresh, so make sure you have a decent amount of ball surface on all your balls that you're shifting to. So try not to bowl with like polish or shine balls.
Oh, it's... Man.
Yeah,
No, I miss.
miss a little bit right. Okay, I missed decently, like 2 bots right.
Miss.
And you can see that the ball, yeah, just goes way
No, I
out.
miss. I miss also.
That was 15. That was about 15.
Yeah, I hit about, I'm supposed to hit like 17? 17, 18 at the break point and missed like 2 boards, so I hit like 15. And you can see that when I miss 2 boards to the right, the ball doesn't hook at all, right? It totally misses the break point. It goes straight to like board probably 5 at the break point, which is, it doesn't have enough to recover from there. So definitely not a lot of room for error, not an easy lane, not an easy pattern by any means.
Yeah, wash out. It's considered I wash out. If I go one board in, to my usual spare line.
Yeah, so I made the washout here.
Yeah.
Okay, so an advice for people bowlers who are trying to make the washout, this is a pretty successful line that I frequently use. That means my pin 7 line, right, is normally from here towards here to pin 7. So this is a line I usually hit for pin 7. So for me to convert the washout, I usually stick with my spare ball. My spare ball hooks a little bit here, but I stay in a similar area with my pin 7. So I stand in the same spot as my pin 7 line. But what I do is that I shift just one board in from my pin 7 line, and I aim a lot more boards right of my target. So like my pin 7 line is probably like 11 at the arrows. So I stand in a very similar area and I shift my target probably three to four boards to the right. Yeah, 3 to 4 boards to the right from my pin 7 line. And yeah, I think this is what I hit right around here. Let's repeat a bit. Let's see which board I hit the arrows again. Yeah, so I hit about, let's see, arrows wise, I hit about here at the arrows. So my usual line is, so my ball hooked a little bit and it just went flush into the 1-2. My usual line for pin 7 is here, like just here. So I shifted, that's my target. That's 11 at the arrows. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. About four boards to the right. 4 boards to the right, and yeah, so you're instantly going for a line that can convert the washout. Right, can see it converts the washout nicely. Yeah,
Ball
so
hooks a bit. So I swear ball should hook a bit.
But it doesn't count as split.
Oh, because got pin 1. Yeah, it's a washout. Washout is not contact as split.
yeah, so that's kind of like a bit of advice for anyone who's like struggling to convert the washout, which is the 1-3-4 along with pin 10 for a right-hander. Just stick with your pin 7 line, stand in the same position as your pin 7 line, adjust your target at the arrows about 3, probably 4 boards to the right for a right-hander, and you should be sending the ball straight into the 1-2 pocket. So that's a good way. Then obviously you do it with your spare ball because you want to throw as straight of a shot as possible. That should give you the correct deflection for you to convert the washout. Okay, I finally managed to get a strike here. I don't know what line was I playing. Okay, I couldn't see my target arrows. At the break point, I'm hitting about 7, probably 8 to 10, but it still recovers. Right, so he manages to get a strike. But I'm definitely struggling with the transition, not getting as many strikes as I wanted. So not as lined up as I was previously with the 15-10 line. So I'm actually trying to play like 18-10, but I've not been hitting my breakpoint consistently.
Yeah.
Yep, so Coach Shun is
Yeah,
playing that
it works
17, 18, 10.
deeper and deeper.
Yep, with his
Yeah,
strong
you
ball.
send 32 lah. You hit about 17. It's about 17-6, 17-5. Where it still comes back.
你的 boss speed， 看我刚刚放那里的 boss speed， 放21而已。
Yeah, that one I try to push a bit more, accelerate the downswing a bit. Push downswing. 10.
This one, it might just
Flat.
have reached the limits of it.
Yeah. The ball like just
Most people are so much faster. That's what I was thinking.
yeah. That's why this one's the one. So it doesn't have enough time to get into the roll phase. Rough miss. Yeah, just feel agak-agak miss. Agak-agak only. Would have been a 230, right? 220 at least. Would have been a 220 at least. No, 230 actually. Push a bit more. Oh, not enough.
Yeah. So for context, Coach Neo's earlier game ended at 210 or something like that. Because of that pin 10 miss on that last frame. So if you had converted that pin 10, you would have been probably 220 plus 230. Yeah, so you can see I was really struggling with this angle. There's a big 4 there. So really not striking as much with this deeper line. Which is something I've been struggling with as I transition in, because I think my ball is a little bit too angular, and I ended with like 146. Yeah, 147. Christian ended with like 212 on that game. Okay, so that's it. That is the our short practice session on the Singapore Open 2022 bowling pattern. So hope that helps out anyone who is going to bowl on the Singapore Open and so on. Hope this is useful information for you, seeing how we bowl on the lanes, the line that we use, how we start to shift in, what balls that we are using, what's the surface that we use, and so on. So if you have questions, feel free to post it in the comments. If you'd like to ask, if you'd like to send in any videos for review, feel free to do so. You can send me via my various social media. You can find it in my video description below. If you like live coaching, if you are trying to improve your physical game, you want coaching, feel free to contact me through my various, through my website, through my rates are on my website, or you can just WhatsApp me to chat with me about my rates. You can, if you're overseas, like if you're in not in Singapore and you like live coaching, you can do that as well through Zoom. Make sure you have a tripod and you can use your smartphone, and then we can live stream that as well. So you can contact me for that too. So as usual, thank you very much for watching. Hope this video helped someone who's out there, and we'll see you guys on the next video.